Secretary Chemicals and Petrochemicals, Shri Arun Baroka ji, Mr. Prab Das ji, Mr. A.S. Sani ji, all the distinguished captains of industries, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. And I'll try to cover some of the points my good friend Deepak Bhai has raised. But more importantly, I want to place on record that yours has been one of the sunshine industries, and each one of you in this room and each one of you working in the chemical and petrochemical sector in India make every Indian proud. Thank you very much for the good work that all of you are doing. My apologies, I got late, but while Parliament is in session, our time is not our own, and events in Parliament coupled with a lot of other engagements kept me away from you for a long time, and I really appreciate all of you waiting to give me this chance to share my thoughts with you. What an appropriate theme, sustainability and circularity. That's India of today. Prime Minister Modi himself is very, very conscious and has on more than one occasion spoken about both these themes as the future of the world and India's own role as a responsible global citizen in meeting the very serious challenge of climate change, due to which we are already seeing the effect of weather, the effect of El Nino. We're seeing the impact it's having in the smaller island nations, the potential impact it could have on my home city of Mumbai being on the coastline, with all of the impact it's having on floods on the one hand and drought on the other hand. I think we are all conscious that promoting circular economy will help us embrace sustainability, and truly that is the need of the hour. And I'm glad that your industry is conscious of it, is seized of the matter, discussing it and finding ways and means to find solutions for the future, because our international business will get severely impacted if we are not able to commit and confirm, particularly to the developed world, that we are a nation conscious about the environment, that our products and processes are moving towards carbon neutrality. We are engaged, maybe not on a net zero mission, but certainly engaged in a mission to balance our carbon needs with other sustainability practices so that we actually start contributing to this global effort. And I'm really delighted that FICCI and the Ministry of Chemicals and Petrochemicals is working with all of you towards this very, very noble objective. Yours is a very vibrant and dynamic sector. You've grown into a large industry base. You have your tentacles in agriculture, in pharmaceuticals, healthcare, so many areas. In fact, even in textiles now, in a big way, with geotextiles and man-made products coming up. I think, and in the biotech sector, another big sector which you have an important role to play. My own sense is we are really at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to our true potential. And there will obviously be fears about competition, there'll be fears about the Middle East, there'll be fears of other countries having a cost advantage, particularly when we don't have crude oil. But let me tell you, the fear is in our mind more than it really is. It's a perceived fear. End of the day, India's own domestic market is so large that if we were to focus on quality, if we were to focus on scale, so that we can benefit from economies of scale. If we were to focus on innovation so that we remain abreast or a step ahead of the rest of the world, and couple all of that with technology and sustainability, I think there's nobody in the world who can compete with India. We have the labor arbitrage, we have our skill and talent arbitrage, we have the democratic framework in which we are working, which strengthens the trust factor that the world has in India. We have the demographic dividend, 140 crore Indians with the youngest population amongst the large countries with an average age of what, 28 years? Expected to continue to be low for the next 3 decades. So a young, vibrant population aspiring for a better quality of life, connected with the best things in the world, internet, television, all of them giving exposure to our young boys and girls who don't settle for anything but the best, who want to contribute with their ideas, with their talent, with their hard work, to make India a developed nation, to make India a prosperous nation, a prosperous society. That fire in the belly that our young boys and girls have is going to drive ambition, is going to drive the growth in the country. So I can promise you, the next 25 years are ours. The next 25 years are a moment in history that doesn't come again and again. And if we fail to seize that moment, history will never forgive us. Our future generations will never forgive us if we don't meet the aspirations of India. And therefore, I'm delighted that you are ready to address these challenges. I can assure you, we on our part, whether it's Arunji or Kubaji or Mansukh Mandavia from the government side, whether it's my colleagues and I working in commerce and industry, or whether it is captains of industry, we are all in it together. We'll have to work synergistically. We'll have to work together as a team. It will not be a whole of the government approach only. It will be a whole of the nation approach, which will achieve us good results. And for those of you who must have seen the Bharat Mandapam being dedicated to the nation yesterday, the country is prepared to meet any challenges in the world. Free trade agreements are happening, but then we are doing a lot of stakeholder consultations. For the older people in the room, I dare say no government in the past and no FTA of the past has had the level of engagement and stakeholder consultations that this government has done in the last 9 years. We were literally thrown into the RCEP negotiations in 2012. In fact, we were not a part of the RCEP originally. We chose to join the RCEP negotiations in 12. At the highest level, a meeting was held at the highest level. And when I dug in the files to figure out why the hell are we in that room at all, I was amazed that we chose to negotiate with the RCEP grouping, where we already had a free trade agreement with ASEAN countries. We already had a free trade agreement with Japan and Korea. So 12 countries done. Australia, we were already negotiating, and it was on the verge of finalization. You saw we negotiated that in 3 months. Not difficult at all. With a country with whom we have no competition. We don't compete on anything with Australia. In fact, we complement each other. It could have been done in 90 days, even 10 years ago. New Zealand, our total trade is 2,000 crores. 2,000 crore ka total trade hai bilateral. $350 million. Not even worth mentioning in this room. And मेरे गले को और खराब कर रहा हूं. तो किसके साथ हो रहा था ये free trade agreement RCEP? With China, one country. और 2012 में शुरू हुआ, हमें विरासत में मिला. And of course, we are not the type of government who changes international outlook and international policy. So we continued to engage, but we stood fast to protect India's industry interest. And after stakeholder engagement, when we realized it is detrimental to your interest, and universally, across the country, across every sector, there's not one industry or business person in the country, होंगे दो चार भटके बुले लोग जिनको चाइना से बहुत ज्यादा प्यार हो सकता है दो चार पॉलिटिशियंस हो जिन्होंने चाइना के साथ कुछ सीक्रेट एमओयू साइन किया हो जिसकी हमें आज तक जानकारी नहीं है, जिनका इंटरेस्ट हो कि हम भारत की मार्केट पूरी चाइना के लिए खोल दे, जो होगा इंडियन इंडस्ट्री का वो खुद भुगतेंगे, फंसेंगे। हो सकता है कुछ लोगों की वो सोच हो सकती है, पर आई कैन अश्योर यू मोदी जी अगर कुछ एग्रीमेंट करेंगे तो सोची समझी रणनीति के तहत करेंगे। It will be to protect your interest, to grow your interest. And it is the first time in the history that after 7 years of negotiations, in a group of 15 top leaders of the world, in a room in Bangkok it was, and I'd had 4 rounds of negotiations before that between June when I took charge, June 19, to October 19, where I had forcefully said my stakeholders' demands are the following. You meet our demands, we are in the room. You don't meet our demands, we cannot agree to your requests. They all thought, ठीक है, India always negative, negative बोल के end में तो हम दबा ही देंगे उनको और साइन करवा ही लेंगे। और उनको एक्सपीरियंस भी ऐसा ही था। आसियान एग्रीमेंट 10 देशों के साथ मोस्ट इल कंसीव्ड एग्रीमेंट, मतलब आप में से अगर किसी ने भी वो एग्रीमेंट पढ़ा होगा, इट इज सो अनफेयर टू इंडियन इंडस्ट्री। Japan and Korea, we have opened our markets for them. They have not allowed our exports to their country. Our exports have not grown at all. What it was 10 years ago, it is the same today with Japan. Their exports to India, that means our imports, have grown 200%, 3x. किसको फायदा हुआ? If they had done stakeholder engagements, if they had understood from you all the pain points, we wouldn't have had to be seeing this day that we are requesting and asking them to renegotiate with us the free trade agreement to make it more balanced, fair and equitable. But in that room on 4th of November, when Prime Minister Modi stood alone against so many other nations, powerful nations, nations who have a large share in global economy, geopolitically important nations, and said India chooses not to be a part of RCEP because it does not meet my people's interest. It does not meet my nation's interest. To my mind, that is true strength and decisive political leadership. ये होता है निर्णायक नेतृत्व। हमें एग्रीमेंट करना भी आता है और अगर एग्रीमेंट हमारे देश हित में नहीं है तो हम उसको ठुकरा के छोड़ के उससे बाहर भी निकलना जानते हैं और इसी के कारण हमने आरसेप नहीं किया। मैं आपको यूएई का भी एग्जांपल देना चाहता हूं। यूएई के एग्रीमेंट के टाइम मैंने आपकी इंडस्ट्री के साथ स्टेक होल्डर नेगोशिएशन डिस्कशन किया। उन दिनों कोविड था तो वो वीसी के पे ऊपर हुआ। शायद आप में से कोई रहा होगा उसमें, मुझे मालूम नहीं, आप थे। आप लोगों ने कुछ चीजें एग्री करी। मैं बड़े जिम्मेदारी के साथ बात कर रहा हूं। आप लोगों ने कुछ चीजें एग्री करी जो मैंने यूएई को ऑफर करी। उसके बेसिस पे यूएई ने मुझे कुछ चीजें ऑफर करी। आफ्टर ऑल इट्स अ गिव एंड टेक ना, इट हैज टू बी विन विन फॉर टू साइड्स। वो ऐसा तो नहीं एग्रीमेंट हो सकता है भाई आपकी मार्केट मुझे पूरी खोल दो पर मेरी मार्केट मैं नहीं खोलूंगा, मेरी मार्केट तो बंद रहेगी। वन वे ट्रैफिक तो नहीं हो सकता है ना। आपने एग्री किया, मैंने कन्वे किया, उसके एवज में हमने कुछ उनसे मांग लिया, ले लिया. उसके बाद एज एन आफ्टर थॉट योर इंडस्ट्री केम बैक टू मी एंड सेड हमसे गलती हो गई. हमने माना तो था पर हमें प्रॉब्लम होगी आगे चल के, हमारे इन्वेस्टमेंट सफर करेंगे, तो आप कृपया करके इसमें कुछ टैरिफ कोटास, टैरिफ रेट कोटास वगैरह डालिए और रिस्ट्रिक्ट करिए कितना बेनिफिट यूएई को मिलेगा. अब फ्रैंकली इट्स अ वेरी एम्बैरेसिंग सिचुएशन. एक बार एग्री होने के बाद मैं बैकआउट हो रहा हूं. एग्री होने के बाद और उनसे कुछ कंसेशन उसके एवज में लेने के बाद अब मैं बोल रहा हूं मैंने तो ले लिया, अब मैं आपका नहीं एग्री कर पाऊंगा. तो बैलेंस डिस्टर्ब हो जाते हैं. उसके बावजूद आपकी इंडस्ट्री के रिक्वेस्ट पे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के पास गया, उनसे मैंने मार्गदर्शन लिया, उनको कहा कि साहब ऐसी तकलीफ आ गई है. इंडस्ट्री ने एग्री किया था पर अब उनको कुछ ध्यान में आ रहा है कि नहीं इसमें तकलीफ हो सकती है, कुछ इन्वेस्टमेंट प्लान्स को तकलीफ आ सकती है, और अगर मैं इससे बैकआउट होता हूं तो जो हमें बेनिफिट दूसरी जगह मिला वो हम खो सकते हैं. मुझे क्या करना है? प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने मुझे मार्गदर्शन दिया कि अगर इंडस्ट्री की तकलीफ है तो हम इनसेंसिटिव नहीं हो सकते. We'll have to respect the industry sentiment. ठीक है, शुरुआत में गलती हो गई, आप फिर एक बार खोलो. चर्चा खत्म होने के बाद, और आप में से याद है ना आपको, बाद में आप लोग आए, कुछ लोग हैं मुझे ध्यान में आ रहे देख के. बाद में आने के बावजूद मैंने मेरे काउंटर पार्ट मिनिस्टर को रिक्वेस्ट की, पर प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी का आज ये वर्चस्व है पूरी दुनिया में कि भारत के रिक्वेस्ट पे, और वो वर्चस्व आपके बलबूते पे. आज 140 करोड़ देशवासियों की जो क्षमताएं हैं, जो ताकत है, उसी के बलबूते पे मोदी जी को ताकत मिलती है. आपका प्यार और विश्वास ही उनको ताकत देता है. पर उस ताकत के तहत वहां के किंग ने, उस समय क्राउन प्रिंस ने एग्री किया कि नहीं, अगर मोदी जी का मैसेज है, भारत की रिक्वेस्ट है, तो रीओपन किया जाए. वो टीआरक्यू लाया गया एग्रीमेंट में, और व्हाइल आई वाज विलिंग, उन्होंने कहा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, हो जाता है कभी गलती, हमें कुछ हमारा अमेंड नहीं करना है, जो हमने आपको दे दिया हम वैसा का वैसा रखते हैं. ये है ताकत मोदी जी की आपकी, और ये है उनके संवेदनशील चरित्र और उनका व्यक्तित्व कि इंडस्ट्री के लिए सरकार को चिंता करनी पड़ेगी, सरकार इंडस्ट्री की बात सुनेगी. लेकिन भाइयों बहनों याद रखिएगा, ये टू वे ट्रैफिक है. अगर हम हर एक चीज में ना 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 करते रहेंगे तो हो सकता है 1000-2000 करोड़ की आपकी इंडस्ट्री को इन्वेस्टमेंट और मिल जाएगी. आपकी इंडस्ट्री में बहुत ज्यादा लेबर या जॉब्स क्रिएट भी नहीं होती है, तो हो सकता है 2-4-10,000 जॉब्स कम क्रिएट होगी. लेकिन उसके सामने अगर हमारे छोटे कारीगर, कोई एमएसएमई सेक्टर से उत्पादन करने वाले कामगार, या किसानों का जो उपज होता है जिसमें करोड़ों लोग इंपैक्ट होते हैं, या वस्त्र उद्योग जहां 4 करोड़ से अधिक लोग पूरी तरीके से निर्भर हैं, 4 करोड़ पीपल आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर, और आर हैंडीक्राफ्ट और हैंडलूम सेक्टर where over 1 crore families get a living, or the fisheries sector where 2 crore Indians survive on that fisheries sector. You will be doing injustice to some of those people, और लाखों करोड़ लोगों का शायद आप नुकसान कर रहे हो. तो एक फाइन बैलेंस हमने भी लाना पड़ेगा हमारी डिमांड्स में और हमारी ओपननेस में. तभी जाके ये एफटीएस कर पाएंगे, तभी जाके भारत के लिए नई मार्केट्स खुलेंगी, तभी जाके भारत का निर्यात बढ़ेगा, एक्सपोर्ट विल इंक्रीज, एंड फेयर, equitable and balanced free trade agreements will be created. I'm sharing this with all of you because end of the day, it's a difficult task for us in government also. When we fight for you, we have to also recognize that we fight for the textile sector, we fight for our farmers, we fight for our auto sector, we fight for our fisheries sector, we fight for our electronic sector. It's a large ecosystem, and 140 crore Indians cannot be satisfied with only one sector. And therefore, I would urge all of you, when you look at free trade agreements, be more open about it, be more practical. And bear in mind, there is another element in which you are all equally participants, and that is the consumer. After all, you are all in the industry, but whatever products you make go into some other industry and then to some other industry. But the final finished product, so your petrochemical may go in this plastic of this bottle. But this bottle, you are also purchasing as a consumer. And 140 crore Indians are consumers, more than any other sector in this country. In fact, until a few years ago, the Consumer Affairs Ministry used to be considered कि तो ऐसी है, dead end job है, इसमें कुछ काम नहीं है. Am I wrong, Arun ji? कि वो punishment posting मानी जाती थी. प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने उस इक्वेशन को भी चेंज कर दिया. सरकार किसके लिए? 140 करोड़ देशवासियों की सरकार है. तो उनका इंटरेस्ट, कंज्यूमर का इंटरेस्ट तो सबसे पैरामाउंट होना चाहिए. Am I wrong when I say that? और अगर कंज्यूमर इंटरेस्ट को हम पूरा नजरअंदाज कर दें, if we totally ignore the consumer interest, will we be doing justice to 1.4 billion Indians? If we spoil the value chain, suppose somewhere in between in a product, we load it with so much duties, so much restrictions, just to protect one sector, then the whole value chain gets disturbed. Our finished product will not be competitive anywhere in the world. Possibly thanks to one of these ill-conceived FTAs, finished goods will start getting imported. So neither will you be protected, nor will the entire value chain be protected. And in the process, who will suffer the most? The consumer. So the paramount interest will have to be 140 crore consumers. And working backward, we'll have to address the concerns of the entire value chain. You are a cog in the wheel. Every cog in the wheel should have a say, will have to be protected, and a holistic approach taken. And that is the effort we are trying to do. Maybe that is the reason Prime Minister Modi chose to keep commerce and industry and consumer affairs for the first time in the history of independent India under one minister, to balance the interests of India, to bring quality consciousness in India, because consumer affairs also has quality and BIS under them, to use the right tools to bring this quality consciousness across the country. You know, we are taking out so many quality control orders. They are to help all of you, to bring best of technologies, help all of you to make products which are internationally acceptable, help our consumers get world-class quality products at affordable prices, so that each one of you can expand your scale of operation and become more competitive. And therefore, friends, I look at FTAs as fueling trade ambitions, fueling technology ambitions. And I have no doubt in my mind that fuel being one of your raw materials. Parukaji was just sharing with me how crude oil determines the future and fate of your industry. But our taxes on fuel oil for export purposes are zero. And if anywhere you are facing any tax on your export products which is related to your exports, we have an open mind to address that issue. On domestic consumption, if there is a tax issue which is affecting the value chain, please talk with Mansukh Bhai or Kubaji. If necessary, I'll also sit and talk with you along with Mansukh Bhai and Kubaji. We have done that in the textile sector. I'm sure you will be able to share your experience with your other colleagues. There was an issue on the textile sector on certain products. But by doing the actions that were requested by industry, I would have killed the entire value chain ahead. Because we would have become uncompetitive, and somewhere along the line, duty-free imports would have come in. तो ना तो टेक्सटाइल सेक्टर बचता और जो यहाँ की रॉ मटेरियल सप्लायर है वो भी नहीं बचता. तो दोनों तरफ से उनको तो नुकसान ही था. मैं ये बात समझा पाया, पर साथ ही साथ अगर इरेशनल इंपोर्ट हो रहे थे तो उसको रोकने के लिए भी मैंने पूरी इंडस्ट्री से अपील करी. And you will be happy to know the entire textile sector sat in a room. I told them I'll lock the door from outside. When you have all come to an agreed condition, I'll open the door. और जब भूख बढ़ती है, तब तक एग्रीमेंट जल्दी हो जाता है. नहीं, ऐसा मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, उल्टे बहुत ज्यादा खाना पीना भेजा था उस रूम में. और डिनर भी ऑफर किया था, पर बहुत ज्यादा लोग रुके नहीं डिनर के लिए. वैसे हम ताज की केटरिंग करवाते हैं वाणिज्य भवन में. उनकी एक लो कॉस्ट लो एंड केटरिंग है, सर्विस है, तो बढ़िया स्वादिष्ट खाना देते हैं. अगली बार आपको ये मीटिंग करनी हो तो आप वाणिज्य भवन यूज करिए. आपका 5 स्टार होटल का खर्चा भी बच जाएगा और 5 स्टार होटल कल्चर से भी हम बच जाएंगे. और फिक्की वगैरह बहुत ज्यादा खर्चा करवा देती है. हमारे वहां पे हम आपका होस्ट करेंगे डिनर. Friends, I promise you, I stand here to safeguard your interest, legitimate interest. I promise to stand with you to protect domestic interests, not at the cost of others, not at the cost of the consumers. I stand here to provide a level playing field for you. But when we look at things comprehensively, holistically, when we are ambitious, when we are looking to capture the world, when we are looking to grow the India story, when we are looking to become a superpower, a world power, when our ambition is a $35 trillion economy, as a base, not as a cap. Anything above that is welcome. पर इससे नीचे मंजूर नहीं है आज देश के 140 करोड़ लोगों को. Am I right, young boys and girls? Don't you want to see that? The next generation will not forgive any of us. And I include myself. We are roughly all of us same age. Arunji and I may be 1 or 2 years apart at best. इस stage में हम सब भगवान खुबा is the youngest. बाकी हम और Sailesh maybe. No, Sailesh is also between you and me. Okay. तो अब हम सब old fogies हो गए. पर हमें चिंता इन सब बच्चों की करनी है. And that is the commitment we owe to the next generation. And as Mahatma Gandhi had said, all of us have inherited the planet, inherited the earth as trustees for the next generation. Intergenerational equity is our responsibility. We have to leave behind a world which is better than the one we got for the next generation. And this collective responsibility, this collective commitment to a developed India, this collective commitment to work with a sense of duty, my duty to you, but your duty to the country equally. ऑफ कोर्स वो एडवर्टाइजमेंट का प्रोडक्ट अच्छा नहीं था, पर वो एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट को मैं आधा ही बोलूंगा, जिससे आप एडवर्टाइजमेंट तो समझ जाएंगे पर प्रोडक्ट का जिक्र नहीं करेंगे। मिल जाए दो यार, तो अब सरकार और इंडस्ट्री दोनों को मिल के रास्ते खोजने हैं भारत को एक विकसित और समृद्ध देश बनाने के लिए, और उस मार्ग में सस्टेनेबिलिटी और सर्कुलरिटी का बहुत अहम भूमिका रहने वाली है। पर मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि ये एक सेक्टर है जो इस देश को कभी झुकने नहीं देगा, कभी रुकने नहीं देगा। आपका सेक्टर तेज गति से बढ़ेगा। अगर भारत को 3.5 ट्रिलियन से 35 ट्रिलियन डॉलर जाना है, तो आपके सेक्टर को 10x ग्रोथ नहीं, उसको तो ज्यादा करना पड़ेगा। यू आर अ बेसिक फाउंडेशन ब्लॉक of India's growth story. Without chemicals and petrochemicals, there is no $35 trillion economy. And therefore, I appeal to you, in this journey, you should have big ambitions, you should be looking at big targets, you should be looking at scale in a big way, you should be looking at capturing international markets. And on our side, as much as you promote research and development, as much as you promote skill development, as much as you look at engaging with international technologies, we will be there, hand in hand with you, to strengthen you, to promote your industry. We will do FTAs in consultation with you. But we expect from you that openness, so that you also can capture world markets, you also can expand in scale and enjoy the fruits of growth and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sri Piyush Goyal ji. Thank you for the perfect dose of motivation, just what we needed in the moment. Thank you so much. And now we'd request Mr. Shailesh K. Pathak,
Thank you.
Secretary
We'll
General.
save time. The Minister, Honorable Minister, has to leave in 60 seconds. So I will give 3 commitments to the Minister. Commitment number 1 is on behalf of FICCI. This is the 3rd edition of this conference. The 4th edition will not be held in a 5-star hotel. It will be held in Bharat Mandapam. The second commitment is on behalf of the industry. The industry is currently 220 billion. As Honorable Minister said, the rate of growth of this industry will have to be higher than the rate of growth of India. So that's a commitment on behalf of all of you. Yes or no? Yes? Yes or no?
इससे ज्यादा तो लोगों ने कल के कार्यक्रम में मोदी मोदी किया।
And the third commitment, sir, is on behalf of all of us. 10 years ago, when these FTAs were negotiated, Indian industry was not as confident as today, which is why we could not raise our voice. But today we have the advantage of a government that listens. And all of us, जिन्होंने माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का भाषण सुना, know that in a few years we'll be the 3rd largest economy and our private sector will be much, much bigger. I just wanted to say thank you to Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal ji and thank you to MOS. आपको शायद मालूम नहीं होगा कि आज इनका ये 3रा प्रोग्राम है and the energy he has is immense. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. We'd request rest of the dignitaries to kindly stay back with us on stage.